a rock and roll legend for the first time, talking about the secret battle that silenced her singing voice. At 78 music, legend Linda Ronstadt may have celebrated her birthday quietly, but one touching message brought her back into the spotlight. She has spoken out after a long silence, and what she shared is making waves in the music world, known for her powerful voice. Across rock Latin and folk Ronstadt, earned 10 Grammys, sold millions of albums, and joined the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Her latest effort is a highly acclaimed, big-selling album. This one here called What's New. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Linda Ronstadt, now fans wonder was her bond with Emmylou Harris, more than just friendship. Join us as we uncover Linda Ronstadt's shocking revelation. The 3 incredible voices back in the late 1970s. 3 talented women, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris, and Dolly Parton, began dreaming of something special. They wanted to create an album together, not because they wanted money, not because they were chasing fame, but simply because they loved each other, trusted one another, and believed that when they sang together, something magical happened. But turning that dream into reality wasn't easy. All 3 women had incredibly busy lives. They were always touring, writing songs and recording their own music. On top of that, they had different contracts with different record labels. And of course, like with any group of artists, strong creative personalities and visions sometimes got in the way. So the project was delayed, not for 1 or 2 years, but for almost a whole decade. Finally, in 1986, the stars aligned. The trio came together, not in a fancy studio in Nashville, but in Linda Ronstadt's own home in Los Angeles. No managers were hovering nearby. No record executives are pressuring them for a hit song. Just 3 close friends gathered in a cozy space, doing what they loved most, making music from the heart. The result was the legendary album trio released in 1987, from the very first track, The Pain of Loving You, to the gentle and emotional ballad, My Dear Companion. You could hear the deep connection between their voices. Well, this trio project, all of it, the whole trio collection is very special to all of us, even more so now. It didn't sound like 3 separate singers. It sounded like one spirit. 3 voices, like they were meant to sing together. The album wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. It soared to the top of the Billboard country chart, sold over 1 million copies in just a few months, and even won a Grammy Award for Best Country Performance. By a duo or group, each of the women brought something unique to the table. Dolly Parton brought in the heartfelt roots of Appalachian folk. Emmylou Harris carried the soul of classic country and folk, and Linda Ronstadt, with her breathtaking vocal control, held it all together and made it shine. But what made the project truly special wasn't just the music, it was the friendship behind it. Especially between Linda and Emmylou. They were more than just musical partners. They were kindred spirits liking each other. Is one thing. How did you know? What was it about her? And what was it about her that you thought, this will make a good recording partnership? They liked the same kinds of music. They shared a love for books and home-cooked meals. They even picked songs in the same thoughtful way. Outside the studio, they'd go on walks together, cook for each other or sit quietly, listening to their favorite artists like Graham Parsons, Buddy Holly, and the Everly Brothers. In a world like the music industry, where women often have to compete just to be noticed, this kind of deep, genuine friendship was rare. But Linda and Emmylou had something real in a 1987 interview. Linda said Emmylou has the same musical intuition I do. We don't have to say much. We just feel it when we sing. Emmylou once called Linda her soul friend in Rolling Stone magazine. That one phrase said so much after Trio. Their bond didn't fade, even though their second album, Trio 2, was recorded in 1994. It didn't come out until 1999. Because of record label disagreements, it didn't make as big a splash as the first, but it didn't need to. It proved that their connection, both musically and personally, was still alive and strong. By then, something had become clear. Their greatest success wasn't just found on the music charts. It was in the bond. They shared a quiet, powerful connection that no album could fully explain. Their chemistry didn't feel forced. In fact, it was the opposite. They weren't trying to impress anyone. And that made the music feel even more honest and moving in a quiet moment. Backstage at a charity concert off camera, Emmylou once said, "I think we understand each other better than anyone else has ever understood me. Maybe it was just friendship, or maybe it was something more, something only the two of them truly knew. Whatever it was, they didn't speak about it publicly. They didn't have to. They let the music speak for them. And that music kept telling their story, not just in albums, but in the quiet, private moments of their lives that followed. What was the connection between Linda and Emmylou? Let's take a closer look. Dynamic partnership between Linda and Emmylou. If Trio, the famous album, Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton, made together was like a perfect handshake between three incredible voices. The Western Wall. The Tucson sessions was something much more intimate. It was like a quiet, heartfelt conversation between two souls who truly understood each other. In 1999, Linda and Emmylou decided to record an album as a duo. Dolly wasn't left out. She simply wasn't part of this particular project, because the mood of the album was different. It was softer, more personal, and deeply reflective. It felt less like a polished studio product and more like a handwritten letter exchanged between two close friends. She won't tell me. I'm crazy. She'll say I really love this. This wasn't an album made for radio hits or big sales. It was made from the heart. They recorded it in a small, simple church in Tucson, Arizona. Linda's hometown. There were no fancy recording studios, no high-tech equipment, just two voices, a guitar, and a handful of carefully chosen songs. Each track told a story, not of fame or glory, but of love, war, memory, and sorrow. Songs like Loving the Highwayman. In 1917 weren't written to be hits. They were chosen because they meant something, because Linda and Emmylou felt they had to sing them. Emmylou once said, "When I sing with Linda, I don't have to try so hard. She creates a space where I can just be myself." Linda shared a similar feeling, saying that singing with Emmylou was as easy and natural as breathing. They didn't need long discussions or rehearsals. Sometimes just a look or a simple nod was enough. That kind of deep connection only comes from years of friendship and trust. Behind the music, their bond was just as powerful during the recording of the album. People noticed how they often pulled away from the busy technical crew and sat together for long periods, not to talk about work, but about life. Linda's mother was seriously ill at the time, and Emmylou was still grieving the loss of her close friend and musical partner Graham Parsons. They talked about getting older, about how fame can feel isolating, and about fears many artists quietly carry years before, that they had lived near each other in Los Angeles, not in the same house, but close enough to drop by within minutes. They shared meals, watched old black and white movies, listened to classic records, and sometimes just sat in silence together. Each reading a book, Linda once recalled. There were days we didn't say a word, but I still felt like those were some of the best. days of my life. Their friendship wasn't loud or attention-seeking. It was calm, steady, and full of quiet moments. That quiet strength is what made people pay attention. A journalist once wrote that watching Linda and Emmylou walk side by side felt like watching an old married couple who had been together for decades, completely in sync. Even without speaking, that line was later removed from the article for being not neutral, but it stayed in people's minds over the years. Fans and fellow musicians alike began to wonder if their deep connection was more than friendship. A 2000 article in The Advocate, a respected LGBTQ+ magazine, referred to them as an unacknowledged couple, while the piece didn't confirm anything. It brought back a question that had been quietly asked for years. Were they more than friends? And if so, would they ever speak publicly about it? Especially at a time when doing so could have harmed their careers. Neither of them gave a clear answer in a rare interview when asked about her love life. Emmylou simply smiled and said, "I love music, and I love the people who make music with me." Her words were open to interpretation, suggestive but respectful. So this way, I could put the music where it was comfortable for me. The vagueness only added to the mystery, and in many ways to the admiration. They didn't use their personal lives as a way to get attention. They didn't sell their story or give in to pressure. But because so many things were left unsaid, people kept wondering the soft looks they gave each other, the quiet moments they shared off stage, the way they seemed to speak in silence. Those little things became part of the story. Fans whispered and the media speculated, but the truth stayed between the two of them. But was there something romantic going on between Linda and Emmylou? Let's find out. Linda Emmylou. Relationship rumor. The whispers started way back in the 1980s, right? When the music group trio had just burst onto the scene and caught everyone's attention. Fans loved them, and reporters. Especially those from Europe, where people were generally more open when it came to talking about LGBTQ+ topics. Began to wonder aloud, was there more than just friendship between Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris? The question came up again and again, but neither of the two ever gave a clear answer. Linda would usually just smile and dodge the question with her usual charm. Emmylou, always quick on her feet, would smoothly change the subject, talking about a new guitar she had bought or the latest music project. Their silence didn't quiet the rumors. If anything, it made people even more curious. Part of what fueled all the speculation was the fact that both women lived life on their own terms. They were strong, independent, and didn't fit the usual mold people expected of country music. Stars neither had long-term public relationships. Linda had once dated Jerry Brown, the governor of California, but after they broke up, she never dated anyone publicly again. Emmylou had been briefly married twice, but after that she kept her personal life incredibly private. In a world where many country singers were expected to marry, raise a family, and live out a gentle, traditional image of femininity, Linda and Emmylou stood apart their independence, though never shouted from the rooftops. Spoke volumes, and during the 1980s and 1990s, coming out as gay could destroy a career, so staying silent was often the only option for those in the public eye. Linda was known for supporting the LGBTQ+ community, especially in her Latin music collaborations with younger artists. But when it came to her own personal life, she stayed quiet. Emily, on the other hand, had a more reserved nature. She kept herself away from the spotlight unless it was about music, and never invited drama. Some fans believed they were living like a married couple in secret, working together, appearing. together sharing quiet moments, but never crossing any obvious lines in public. No paparazzi photo, no tabloid scoop ever proved anything. Yet the mystery only grew. Fan fiction artwork, blog posts, and even podcasts flourished online. Especially during Tumblr's golden days, the idea of Linda x Emmylou became its own little underground culture. Many in the LGBTQ+ community embraced them with love and admiration, seeing them as possible. Quiet rebels who chose love over labels, of course not. Everyone was convinced some thought people were reading too much into things. A longtime Billboard journalist once wrote, "Maybe we're just so hungry for unconventional role models that we've invented a story. Two friends never meant to tell. Still certain things." Made people wonder, like the time Linda brought Emmylou home to Arizona for the holidays. To meet her family, a gesture usually reserved for someone very special. Or that rare 1998 interview, where Linda said, "Emmylou is the only person I don't need to keep a distance from when I'm too tired to talk." It wasn't a direct answer, but it lingered in people's minds like a soft echo. As the years passed, the rumors never fully disappeared. But the world moved on, people. Aged priorities shifted, and sometimes silence becomes a burden when the time came that rumors no longer mattered, and the fear of public reaction had faded. Linda finally chose to speak, not to shock the world, but to finally release something she had held in for far too long, for peace, for honesty, for herself. So why did she choose this moment, after all those years of silence, to finally speak the truth? Let's take a closer look at the first time Linda Ronstadt openly confirmed her relationship with Emmylou Harris. Linda Ronstadt's shocking revelation in 2023. In an interview with The New Yorker, music legend Linda Ronstadt opened up like never before. For the first time, she spoke about her relationship with fellow artist Emmylou Harris. Her words were quiet, but powerful. "Emily is one of the greatest loves of my life." Linda explained that what they shared didn't need a label. It wasn't about headlines or attention. It wasn't political. It was about peace. About finally letting go after years of holding back. It was, as she said, a gentle liberation. The interview took place at Linda's modest home in San Francisco. These days, she lives a quiet life, away from the spotlight. Her health has declined due to a rare brain disorder called progressive supranuclear palsy, PSP. This illness slowly affects the brain's ability to control movement, making it hard for her to even speak during the interview. Most of the conversation had to be done through writing and hand gestures. But when Linda spoke of Emmylou, her eyes softened. It was as if no time had passed, and their bond remained untouched. She shared that during their many years making music together, they both knew something special existed between them. But because of public pressure and fear of judgment, they stayed silent. "We loved each other through music," Linda wrote, "through care, through accepting each other without needing to change a thing." She didn't use the word love in a dramatic way, but she didn't avoid it either when asked if their connection was more than just friendship. She nodded and wrote 3 simple words. Yes, deeply. No one can fully understand what Linda and Emmylou had, because even they never tried to put it into words. They just lived it, for example. When Linda's mother passed away, Emmylou was the first person she called, and when Emmylou was shattered by the death of Graham Parsons, Linda was the only one who truly knew they had an unspoken promise. If one ever called in the middle of the night, the other would answer. No questions asked, just listening. After that interview, people began to look back. Old photos, short quotes from past interviews, glances exchanged on stage that fans once noticed but didn't understand. Suddenly, everything had more meaning. But Linda's confession didn't feel like a shock. It felt like a quiet truth, finally given space to breathe. She wasn't trying to confirm gossip. She was honoring something real, something beautiful. As for Emmylou, she hasn't released an official statement, but in a 2-on-24 interview on a music talk show, she said something that said it all. Linda's the only person I've ever sung with who made me feel both safe and challenged. She understood me better than I understood myself. When the host teased, "That sounds like a love story," Emmylou simply smiled. It was the kind of smile that speaks volumes without saying a word. Maybe that's the beauty of their bond. No dramatic declarations, no denials, just quiet truth. They chose to stay honest with each other rather than please the public, and in doing so, Linda, who once walked away from fame at the height of her career, reminded the world what true honesty looks like. Even in silence, she lived with authenticity, and when she finally spoke, it wasn't to make headlines, it was to tell the truth her way. She doesn't need to explain herself now. She just needed to speak her truth. And in that truth, Emmylou is the most beautiful chapter when Linda could no longer perform. The spotlight fell only on one half of the duo that once mesmerized the world, but somehow Linda is still there every time Emmylou sings at a 2-23 concert at the Ryman Auditorium. Emmylou sang Loving the Highwayman, a song she had once recorded with Linda, when the music stopped. There was no applause, just silence. Then Emily looked out and said, "I still hear Linda singing in my head. Every time I get to that part, she doesn't have to be here to still be here." Emmylou continues to sing record and give to charity, but longtime fans feel the difference. Her music has become softer, deeper, a little lonelier. In an NPR interview, she admitted without Linda, "I still sing, but I feel like I'm missing half the tone, as if my echo has no place to land, and her actions show it." She quietly organized a fundraiser to help cover Linda's medical expenses, never putting her name on it. Linda only found out because a friend mentioned it. When asked, Emmylou simply said, "I did it for family." She is family, a close friend in the industry, revealed that Emmylou still sends Linda her new songs, along with handwritten notes that say things like, "If you can still hear this part, is for you to sing." And Linda, on her clearer days, she listens to their old recordings when Trio or Western Wall plays. She closes her eyes as if she's back in the studio, singing again. And when the song ends, she smiles just slightly, but enough for those around to see what mattered is still there for Linda and Emmylou. Music wasn't just a job. It was where memories lived. It was where they understood, trusted, and quietly loved each other. Not with Hollywood drama, but with something real, something lasting. A love that didn't need permission or definition. Some critics once said, Linda and Emmylou didn't just sing together, they lived through each other. That wasn't an exaggeration. That was the truth. Now that the truth is out in the open, maybe they never kissed in front of cameras. Maybe there were no fireworks or love letters. But when Linda stopped singing, and Emmylou kept singing for both of them, that became the most powerful love letter of all they no longer need to hide. Linda has spoken, Emmylou keeps singing, and their love, deep, gentle, and unforgettable, needs no explanation. So, what do you think about this rare kind of friendship? Let us know your opinion in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe.